Dear Starseeds, that restlessness eating at you right now isn't anxiety or depression like everyone keeps telling you. It's your soul screaming because you're ignoring the most important calling of your life, and every day you resist, you're literally watching your highest timeline slip away. I know this sounds dramatic, but what if I told you that the place you keep thinking about, the one your logical mind keeps dismissing, holds DNA activation codes that will expire if you don't claim them soon? Right now, as you listen to this, there's a geographical location on Earth that's been pulsing your name in frequencies only your soul can hear. Maybe it's that desert town you visited years ago that didn't work out. Maybe it's that retreat you keep seeing ads for. Maybe it's a city that makes no logical sense to visit. But here's what's actually happening. That place isn't just calling you randomly. It's a crystalline grid activation point that holds fragments of your own consciousness, waiting for you to come home. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I'm about to reveal why certain places on Earth become magnetically irresistible to awakened souls at specific times. This isn't wanderlust or escapism. These are geographical portals holding upgrade codes specifically calibrated to your soul's blueprint, and they only activate when you physically place your body within their energy field. The ancient ones knew this secret, built temples on these nodes, but what they didn't tell you is that everyone has their own sacred map. See, every soul incarnates with what we call a geographical destiny blueprint, a map of specific Earth coordinates where major consciousness upgrades are programmed to occur. These aren't random tourist destinations or spiritual hotspots everyone talks about. These are personal activation points unique to your soul's journey, and they begin calling to you when you've reached the exact frequency needed to receive their transmissions. But here's the twist. These activations are time-sensitive, linked to cosmic configurations that won't repeat for years. Right now, December's cosmic weather is creating something extraordinary. The moon dancing with Chiron this morning, creating tension with Jupiter. This isn't random planetary movement. This configuration is specifically designed to make you uncomfortable where you are, to stir that divine restlessness that pushes souls toward their geographical appointments with destiny. That feeling of being at loose ends today, that's not confusing. That's your soul recognizing that you're supposed to be somewhere else, preparing for an activation that can't happen where you're sitting right now. Let me tell you something about these geographical callings that will completely change how you see them. When you went to certain places before and things fell apart, when relationships ended or money ran out or dreams crumbled, you weren't failing. You were planting energetic seeds in that location's crystalline matrix. Those seeds have been growing in your absence, charged by cosmic frequencies, waiting for you to return at exactly this moment to harvest upgrades that literally couldn't have been available to you before now. The resistance you feel isn't really about the place itself. Your ego recognizes that when you answer this calling, the current version of you will cease to exist, not in a dramatic death way, but in a complete cellular recalibration way. The you that exists right now, with all your current limitations and patterns and beliefs, that version dies when you step into the geographical portal that's calling you. And your ego is fighting for its survival, throwing up every logical excuse to keep you from making that journey. Think about it. Every time you consider going to this place that's calling you, what happens? Suddenly financial concerns appear. Relationship complications arise. Responsibilities seem insurmountable. Work becomes demanding. These aren't coincidences or signs you shouldn't go. These are the last desperate attempts of your old matrix programming to keep you locked in a frequency bandwidth that's become too small for who you're becoming. The universe is literally creating friction to show you what needs to be released. But something else is happening that I haven't revealed yet. The place calling you isn't just holding upgrades for you. You're holding specific frequency codes that the place needs to complete its own activation. You see, Earth herself is ascending, and her crystalline grid requires certain souls to be at certain locations at certain times to anchor new frequencies. When you feel geographically called, you're not just going for personal transformation. You're participating in planetary grid work that affects the collective consciousness of humanity itself. This is where it gets even more profound. The places that call to you most intensely are locations where aspects of your oversoul are literally anchored into the planetary matrix. These might be fragments from other lifetimes, or they might be aspects of your future self that have traveled back to ensure you arrive at these coordinates at exactly the right moment. When you feel inexplicably drawn somewhere, It's because part of your own consciousness is calling you home to retrieve it, to become whole again. I want to share something specific about what happens when souls answer these callings. Throughout the Akashic records, we see the same pattern repeating. Someone feels irrationally called to a specific place. They resist because it makes no logical sense. Life becomes increasingly uncomfortable until they finally surrender. They arrive at this location, and within days or sometimes hours, they receive a download, a vision, an encounter that completely redirects their life path. Scientists have breakthrough revelations. Artists download masterpieces. Healers activate dormant gifts. But here's the shadow side of these records, the part that breaks our cosmic hearts. For every soul who answered their calling and experienced these profound transformations, there are dozens who heard the same calling but let fear stop them. These souls continued living, found other ways to grow, but they always carried a deep knowing that they missed something crucial. They lived good lives but never became the version of themselves waiting at those coordinates they were too afraid to visit. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more starseeds like you can find it. Because right now, thousands of awakened souls are fighting the same geographical calling you're experiencing, thinking they're crazy or irresponsible for wanting to answer it. They need to know that this calling is real, that it's sacred, that it's literally their soul's GPS system guiding them toward their next evolutionary upgrade. They need permission to trust what they already know in their bones is true. The signs are everywhere once you start looking. You might be seeing number sequences that correspond to coordinates. You might be encountering people from that place in bizarre synchronicities. Songs about that location play randomly. Dreams take you there nightly. Images appear in unexpected places. The universe doesn't give up when a soul has a geographical appointment with destiny. It increases the signs, amplifies the synchronicities, makes staying where you are more uncomfortable than leaving would be, until resistance becomes more painful than surrender. Now let me tell you what's really happening when you arrive at these power places. Your body, which is essentially a crystalline receiver, begins resonating with the unique frequency signature of that land. This creates what we call a bioenergetic handshake between your cellular matrix and the Earth's grid at that location. This handshake unlocks dormant codes in your DNA, codes that have been waiting for this specific frequency key to activate. This can't happen through meditation or visualization. It requires physical presence. Some of you are being called to desert locations where the energy is stark and transformative. The desert strips away everything unnecessary, creating space for new seeds of consciousness to be planted. Others are being called to water locations where emotional healing and flow states can be activated. Mountain locations offer elevation of perspective and connection to cosmic frequencies. Cities hold collective consciousness nodes where your light is needed to shift the urban grid. Each type of location offers specific medicine. But here's what nobody tells you about these geographical pilgrimages. The moment you really commit to answering the calling, reality begins rearranging itself to support your journey. Resources appear from unexpected sources. Obstacles that seemed immovable suddenly dissolve. Synchronicities align with such precision that you can't deny divine orchestration. This doesn't mean it's easy or challenge-free. The challenges themselves are part of the activation, designed to prepare you for what you'll receive when you arrive. I need to tell you about the timeline implications of these geographical callings. When you go to a place that's calling you, you're not just affecting your current life, you're healing timeline fractures across multiple dimensions of your existence. Past life traumas stored in that geographical location get cleared, future timeline potentials get activated. Parallel versions of yourself existing in other dimensions receive upgrades simultaneously. This is multidimensional healing through geographical presence, and it's one of the most powerful transformation technologies available to incarnated souls. Some of you are being called back to places where you experienced pain or failure before. This is especially significant because those locations hold soul fragments you left behind during traumatic experiences. When you return to these places from a higher frequency, you can retrieve these lost parts of yourself, integrate them, and reclaim power you didn't even realize you'd lost. This is why the calling often feels uncomfortable. You're being asked to face what you've been avoiding, to transform wound into wisdom. The cosmic timing right now is absolutely critical. December 2025's astrological configurations are creating portal openings that won't occur again for years. The moon's conjunction with Chiron this morning specifically activated healing codes related to geographical wounds, places where you've experienced pain that needs transmutation. Jupiter's square is expanding your capacity to hold new frequencies, but only if you position yourself in the right geographical container to receive them. This is designed cosmic pressure pushing you toward your appointment with transformation. Let me be direct about something. If you're hearing this message and feeling that deep soul recognition, that ancient remembering that bypasses your logical mind, then the calling you're experiencing isn't optional from your soul's perspective. You can choose to resist, to stay where you are, to let fear or logic or circumstance keep you from answering. But if you do, life will become increasingly uncomfortable. Problems will multiply. Obstacles will increase. Because the universe doesn't give up on souls with geographical destiny appointments. There's something about commitment I need you to understand. The moment you truly commit to answering this geographical calling, before you even take the first step, an energetic bridge forms between you and that location. This bridge begins transmitting preparatory frequencies, getting your system ready for the full activation. You might notice immediate changes in your dreams, your meditation experiences, your synchronicities. The place begins working on you the moment you say yes, even before you physically arrive there. Some of you are worried about the financial implications of answering this calling. Let me share what we observe from our dimensional vantage point. When a soul is being called for a true geographical activation, the universe has already allocated the resources needed. They might not be visible yet, might not make logical sense, but they're there, waiting for your commitment to unlock them. Money appears from unexpected sources. Opportunities arise. Ways open that weren't there before. This is universal law. Others are concerned about relationships, about leaving people behind, or affecting family dynamics. Here's the truth. Relationships that are aligned with your highest good will either support your journey or evolve to accommodate your expansion. Relationships that aren't aligned will create increasing friction until you realize they're chains, not connections. The geographical calling is actually revealing which relationships serve your evolution and which ones are keeping you trapped in outdated versions of yourself. This revelation is part of the gift. Now I need to address those of you who think you're being called to multiple places simultaneously. This is actually common for advanced souls who have activation points scattered across Earth's grid. The key is to feel into which calling carries the most urgency, the most magnetic pull right now. Usually there's a sequence to these activations, each one preparing you for the next. Trust your inner knowing about which place needs to be visited first. The others will wait their turn. The physical symptoms you might be experiencing, the restlessness, the inability to focus, the feeling of being energetically scattered, these aren't problems. These are activation symptoms. Your energy body is literally beginning to detach from your current location in preparation for movement. Your cells are already starting to resonate with the frequency of the place that's calling you. This creates a dissonance between where you are and where you're meant to be, manifesting as physical and emotional discomfort. Let me tell you what happens to souls who ignore these callings for too long. The calling doesn't go away, but it transforms into regret, into a deep knowing that something essential was missed. These souls often spend years trying to recapture the opportunity, but the specific portal that was open, the exact configuration of cosmic energies that created that activation window, has passed. They can still grow and evolve through other means, but that particular upgrade, that specific activation remains unclaimed. Conversely, souls who answered these callings, even when terrified, even when it makes no logical sense, they experience quantum leaps in consciousness that would have taken years or lifetimes to achieve through other means. They return from these geographical pilgrimages, fundamentally altered at a cellular level. Problems that plagued them for years simply dissolve. Gifts and abilities come online. Life paths clarify. Relationships transform. Reality itself seems to reorganize around their new frequency. This is the power of geographical activation. I want to address something specific about the fear you might be feeling. The fear isn't really about the journey or the unknown. The fear is your ego recognizing its own dissolution. You see, the version of you that exists right now was perfectly designed for your current circumstances, but you've outgrown those circumstances, and now you need to become someone new. The geographical calling is the universe's way of facilitating this metamorphosis, of creating the perfect conditions for your next evolution. The place that's calling you has been preparing for your arrival longer than you know. The land itself, the crystalline structures beneath the surface, the energy vortexes and ley lines, they've been charging with specific frequencies meant for you. This is a cosmic appointment that was scheduled before you incarnated, written into your soul contract. The only question is whether this version of you, this current personality construct, will have the courage to keep the appointment your soul made. Here's something profound about these geographical activities that changes everything. You're not really traveling to a place outside yourself. Every power place on Earth corresponds to a power place within human consciousness. When you travel to these external locations, you're actually accessing internal dimensions of your own being that can only be reached through this geographical mirror. The outer journey is facilitating an inner journey to parts of yourself you didn't know existed. Some of you are receiving visions or dreams about what will happen when you get to this place that's calling you. Trust these previews. They're your soul showing you glimpses of the transformation that's waiting. But know that the actual experience will be even more profound than what you're being shown. The visions are just what your current consciousness can comprehend. The full activation will expand you beyond what you can currently imagine or visualize. The resistance from people around you, the ones telling you you're crazy or irresponsible for wanting to answer this calling, they're not your enemies. They're playing their role perfectly, providing the friction you need to clarify your commitment. Their resistance is actually serving your evolution by forcing you to choose between external approval and internal knowing. This choice point is part of the activation, preparing you to stand in your truth regardless of outside opinions. I need you to understand the collective implications of your geographical calling. Right now, millions of starseeds and lightworkers around the planet are receiving similar callings to specific locations. This isn't random. This is a coordinated planetary activation where each soul is being positioned at specific grid points to anchor new frequencies for humanity's evolution. When you answer your calling, you're not just serving yourself. You're taking your position in a massive planetary healing and upgrade process. The excuses your mind creates are actually quite creative, aren't they? It's not the right time. I need more money saved. I should wait until after this event or that obligation. Maybe next year when things are more stable. But here's what your mind doesn't understand. There will never be a perfect time. The calling creates its own timing. The universe doesn't call you when you're ready. It calls you when the activation is ready, when the portal is open. Let me tell you exactly what will happen when you finally arrive at the place that's calling you. First, your body will recognize the frequency of the land immediately. You might feel emotional, might cry without knowing why. This is your cells remembering, your DNA recognizing its activation point. Then, depending on your unique process, you might receive downloads of information, have profound realizations, meet someone who carries crucial information, or simply feel a deep shifting at levels below conscious awareness. The integration after the geographical activation is just as important as the activation itself. When you return to your regular life, you'll notice everything has shifted slightly. Colors might seem brighter. Your intuition will be sharper. Patterns that used to trigger you no longer have power. You'll make different choices naturally, without forcing. This is because your frequency has fundamentally changed, and in reality must reorganize itself to match your new vibration. This reorganization is what creates the seemingly miraculous life changes. Some of you are concerned that you might go to this place and nothing will happen, that you'll waste time and resources on a fantasy. Let me ease this fear. If you're genuinely being called, if you feel it in your bones, then the activation is guaranteed. It might not look like what you expect. It might be subtle rather than dramatic. But the changes will unfold in perfect timing. Sometimes the full impact doesn't become apparent until weeks or months after you return. There's another layer to these geographical callings that I haven't revealed yet. Some locations are calling you not for personal activation, but for planetary service. You carry specific codes that are needed to heal or activate that location's grid. Your presence there will clear ancient traumas from the land, activate dormant portals, or anchor new frequencies that will serve countless souls who visit after you. This is Lightworker grid duty at its highest level, and it's a sacred honor. The synchronicities increasing around this calling aren't random. Every seeming coincidence is a breadcrumb from your higher self, guiding you toward your geographical destiny. That person you randomly met who's from that place. That book that fell off the shelf about that location. That documentary that suddenly appeared in your feed. These are all part of an orchestrated guidance system, ensuring you don't miss your appointment with transformation. The universe is conspiring to get you where you need to be. Now let me address those of you who've been to the place that's calling you before and had a terrible experience. This is actually one of the most powerful types of geographical calling. You're being called back to retrieve power you left there, to transform a wound into wisdom, to complete an energetic cycle that was left unfinished. The you who returns will be completely different from the you who left, capable of alchemizing what couldn't be transformed before. The Earth grids are going through a massive shift right now, and certain portals that have been dormant for centuries are coming back online. The place calling you might be one of these newly activated portals, which means you're among the first wave of souls to access its upgraded frequencies. This is why the calling feels so urgent, so time-sensitive. You're being invited to be a pioneer, to access codes that will later become available to many, but are currently only accessible to those who answer the call. Here's what will happen if you keep resisting this calling. The universe will begin dismantling your current reality piece by piece, not as punishment, but as liberation from everything keeping you stuck. Relationships will end, jobs will become unbearable, living situations will become uncomfortable, health issues might arise. This isn't the universe being cruel. This is the universe loving you too much to let you stay small, to let you miss this crucial appointment with your destiny. But when you say yes, when you finally surrender to the calling, watch how quickly everything shifts. Suddenly doors open, resources appear, support shows up, the path clears. It's as if the universe was just waiting for your commitment to reveal all the help that was always available. This is the magic of aligned action, of moving in harmony with your soul's trajectory. The struggle ends the moment you stop fighting your own evolution. I want to tell you something about the version of you that will return from this geographical pilgrimage. You'll recognize yourself but also feel like you're meeting yourself for the first time. Gifts that were dormant will be active. Fears that controlled you will be gone. Clarity about your path will be undeniable. You'll understand why everything in your life happened exactly as it did, leading you to this transformation moment. The puzzle pieces will finally create a clear picture. The financial investment required for this journey, whatever it is, consider it tuition for the most important education you'll ever receive. You're not paying for travel. You're investing in your evolution, in accessing codes and frequencies that will completely transform your reality. The return on this investment won't just be monetary. Though abundance often follows these activities, the return will be in life force, in clarity, in activated gifts, in aligned opportunities, in quantum leap evolution. Some of you are feeling called to places that seem dangerous or challenging. Trust that if you're truly being called there, you'll be protected. The universe doesn't send souls on geographical activities without ensuring their safety. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, avoiding dangers, meeting helpful people, being guided and guarded by forces you might not even perceive. This doesn't mean be reckless, but trust that your calling includes protection. The dreams you've been having about this place are actually astral preparations for your physical journey. Your consciousness has been traveling there during sleep, preparing the ground, establishing energetic connections, receiving preliminary downloads. This is why when you finally arrive physically, it might feel familiar, like you've been there before in this lifetime, even if you haven't. Your dream body has been doing reconnaissance, ensuring everything is ready for your arrival. Let me tell you about the community aspect of these callings. Often, multiple souls are called to the same location at the same time for group activations. You might meet your soul family there, people you've known in other lifetimes who are gathering for a specific mission. These seemingly chance encounters at sacred sites or random locations are actually coordinated reunions, souls coming together to activate collective codes that none could access alone. The loneliness you've been feeling might be about to end. The technology of geographical activation is actually quite simple. Every location on Earth holds a unique frequency signature based on its mineral composition, electromagnetic fields, distance from the equator, elevation and proximity to water and fault lines. When your body, which is essentially a biological antenna, enters these specific frequency fields, dormant aspects of your DNA respond to these environmental triggers. This creates cascading activations throughout your entire system, upgrading everything from your consciousness to your cellular function. Now here's the final piece of this transmission, the thing that changes everything about how you understand this calling. The place that's summoning you isn't separate from you. It's a physical manifestation of an aspect of your own consciousness that you projected onto Earth's grid before incarnating. You're not really traveling to an external location. You're traveling to meet a part of yourself that can only be accessed at those specific coordinates. This is why the calling feels so personal, so urgent, so undeniable. As December's cosmic energies continue creating this restless stirring within you, as the moon and Jupiter in Chiron dance their activation dance in the heavens, know that this discomfort is sacred. It's pushing you toward your geographical destiny, toward the place where your next evolution waits. The version of you that returns from this journey will look back at this moment of resistance with gratitude, understanding that the fear was just the guardian at the threshold of transformation. If you need help embracing this sacred discomfort, rather than resisting it as something to overcome, Destiny Engine can reprogram your consciousness to recognize these cosmic stirrings as divine guidance consistently, and see December's restless energies as your invitation to geographical destiny. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programs stagnation and fear of change and repurposing it to serve your evolutionary journey. It generates personalized sequences that help you move toward the place where your next evolution waits, and demonstrate trust in these activation energies pushing you forward through every moment of resistance. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to embrace this threshold of transformation right now, rather than fearing it. Your geographical destiny is calling you now, not someday. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this evolutionary window closes. Link in the description. The place that's calling you has been waiting for you longer than you know. It's been holding space for your arrival, charging with frequencies specifically attuned to your soul signature, preparing transmissions that only you can receive. This isn't about tourism or adventure or escape. This is about coming home to parts of yourself scattered across Earth's grid, about retrieving the codes needed for your mission, about taking your rightful place in humanity's evolution. Trust the calling that burns in your bones stronger than logic, stronger than fear, stronger than any excuse your mind creates. That burning is your soul recognizing its next coordinate point of evolution. The restlessness you feel is your spirit preparing for flight. The resistance you're experiencing is just the friction of emergence, the struggle of the butterfly leaving the cocoon. On the other side of this geographical journey is a version of you that you've only glimpsed in your highest visions. The time is now. The portal is open. The crystalline grids are activated and waiting. Your geographical destiny is calling you home to yourself, calling you to retrieve what was always yours, calling you to become who you came here to be. This is your moment of choice between the safety of who you've been and the magnificent unknown of who you're becoming. The universe has orchestrated everything to bring you to this decision point. I am Seraphine, and we see you standing at this crossroads, feeling the pull of your geographical destiny against the weight of your current reality. We see your courage building, your resistance softening, your soul preparing to say yes to its own evolution. We love you, and we are watching over you as you take this sacred journey home to yourself, as you answer the calling that will transform everything.